My journey with cloth began when I was a child. My mom taught me how to crochet, knit, and sew when I was very little, giving me an appreciation for handmade things. Here she is holding her first great-grandchild. In 1993, my journey with textile surface design began in earnest, when I went to the flea market with some t-shirts that I had dyed myself. I bought some white t-shirts and some dye, and I played around and experimented. This is one of the very, very first t-shirts that I made with liner prints on. Eventually, I was making and selling t-shirts, skirts, dresses, pants, bell-bottoms, socks, beanies, and all sorts of things. Anything I could think of, I would make up and sell in my stand at the market. Here you can see me in my stand with a friend and my brother, and can you believe that I used to fit all of that stuff into a tiny little city golf? In 2001, I wrote the first draft of Contemporary Dyecraft. My book would be shelved for a whole decade before I would see it come to life in 2010. In 2003, I found My Lucky Alcorn. I managed to convince Marion Fazler to use my finishes in her work, and for some time I produced hand-dyed finishes for her Sibella label, which is her range of children's garments that she was selling during that period. I went on from there to attend my first SA Fashion Week event, and after that my world became a frenzy of mass production. Here you can see me in my factory dyeing lots and lots of fabric for the catwalk. By 2005, I had finishes on the catwalk in 5 collections at SA Fashion Week, with Stone Cherry, Black Coffee, Marion and Lindy, Sun Goddess, and JJ Skuman. This garment actually went with JJ Skuman all the way to New York Fashion Week. In 2005, I decided to launch my own brand of tie-dye kits into the South African craft market. I read a book that said I should find a product that I could replicate if I really wanted to make some money. So I came up with a little kit that we could sell in craft shops, and this is what it looked like when I first launched it. These kits crashed and burned terribly. They were too big and people didn't know what was inside. And over the years, the product has changed and developed, and now it looks like this. It's a small little box with a bunch of different colors in and all of the chemicals that you need, pre-packed at optimum levels. We've also got kits in different colorways so that people can select groups of colorings that they like. And we've got a mail order channel, and we also supply the kits to craft retail stores. In 2008, I joined the Raizcorp business incubator to improve my business skills and spent some time there learning more about how to be a professional business person. In 2009, I started teaching full-time, and this really changed my life. I spent some time traveling around to fashion colleges, fashion businesses, festivals, team building events, maker stations, craft exhibitions, non-profit charities and skill centers. I worked with small crowds and with very large ones. In 2009, I produced my very first book with Metz Press, and I spent most of 2009 producing the samples that we needed, and of course the magical photographs. Metz Press is a wonderful publisher to work with in South Africa. And in 2010, I realized my childhood dream of becoming a published author. This is me opening my very first box of books that arrived with the courier. This is a happy author looking at her first books. I was very lucky that I also managed to get a Canadian publication with Firefly Books very shortly after the book landed on the shelves in South Africa. So it is also available in South Africa in Afrikaans under the title Eetheidse Kleerkuns. Here's the Metz Press team at Hobby X at the book launch in 2010. In 2013, I launched my second book, 50 Silk Scarves. Here we are at the book launch at the Metz Press offices. And we also launched this book at Hobby X. It is also available in English and Afrikaans. And I also have a US publication with Stackpole Books. Here is Ivan Nordia helping me with the photographs for my book. He also took all of the fashion pictures of the work that I did for SA Fashion Week. I participated in Hobby X for more than a decade, and I did different things there. We had a skills development stand. I worked in the Metz Press stand selling my books. Sometimes we did demonstrations. Sometimes I taught workshops. Sometimes I just hung around and acted like a celebrity. But for more than a decade, Hobby X was my world. And I was there every March on my birthday to enjoy crafting with other crafters. I also participated in SA Fashion Week for more than a decade in a number of different ways. Some years I had finishes on the catwalk in collections. Some years I was training other designers how to create their own finishes for the catwalk. And here I am with Joel Janssen van Vieren. He is one of the superstars that I had the privilege of working with. I mentored Joel for some time. Then I climbed in my car and drove around South Africa for 5 years to teach. Here I am teaching in Southern Africa. The Transkei was absolutely breathtakingly beautiful. I loved the warm people in Lesotho. Swaziland was just amazing. I loved the exuberance of the makers there. And in Namibia, I just couldn't get over those big skies. I did all of that traveling in this tiny car, packed to the roof with all of the things that I needed to teach. I used to call this car Tetris. In 2015, I found my human and wanted to settle down and enjoy my time with him. We originally met in 1997 and tried to pursue a long-distance relationship, which fizzled out. So when we reconnected in 2015, there was no stopping me, no holding me back. I decided I now wanted to spend more time with Peter Hanbury. So I stopped traveling and started to work on my online school. In the last few years, I have created an online school on Patreon and an online platform on Thinkific where you can sign up for specific courses to learn about specific things. The learning system works together so that you can self-teach from home. Then in 2017, the Upcycled Cloth Collective happened to me, and that is a story all on its own that you will find on my YouTube channel. I made a bunch of fabric and sent it out to makers all around the world to transform into finished fabrics. And this little project turned into an upcycling group with more than 46,000 members in less than 2 years. So look out for my UCCC movie on my YouTube channel if you want to hear more about it. I do have a whole movie just about that. I hope this explains to you why I love fabric and care about it so much. And you will find me on all of the social networks at Dye and Prints.